I am super pumped today to have Buddy join us and just chat about all things related to influence, social, music, how to get your music heard, how to get people excited about music gear. So we've been incredibly blessed and fortunate to get to know Buddy over the past few months. He's worked with us on a number of different things, and feel very appreciative to call him a friend at this point. So really
Nice.
excited to get to chat about a number of topics. So yeah, it looks like we got a few more rolling in. Um, so I'll just, yeah, while we're waiting out, I'll just go ahead and kind of give an idea of how this is going to go. First of all, I would love to keep this very conversational. So
Mhm.
if you're joining us today, make use of that chat. You should be able to put in chats to us. If you've got questions for Buddy, let us know. We'd love to answer some of those in real time. We've got a couple of polls that we're going to do throughout the event here. So three different questions. We're going to throw those out as we go through and just get your take. I'd love to see some data coming back on how you guys feel about some of these topics. So in general, let's keep this sort of interactive and going both ways. But without further ado, I would love to introduce, if you don't already know him well enough at this point, Mr. Buddy Blues. And I would love to start out with just sort of a background on you as an artist. Um, some folks may know you well, some folks might not as well, but I personally learned some things just the other day from your Instagram story when you were in Beirut and kind of talking about, your early life there and even the first music store you went into and like
Yeah,
first guitar. So yeah, man, maybe just give us a quick rundown of you as an artist. How'd you get started and where did it all begin?
yeah, I'd love to. It all began it's a very similar story to a lot of other musicians. It all began with my parents forcing us doing piano lessons, music lessons, whatever it is. For us, it was piano lessons, and we had at the age of 4. So we had a very, very strict piano teacher, which looking back on it now, I'm really grateful for her. But she was very, very strict, and she got us really excited about music in her own very special way. I mean, she was very strict, but she got us excited about music. And I started doing classical piano, and I had my first concert, if you will, at the age of 6. It was a recital. There was about 20 other people. I sucked. I think I was number 14 to go on. But then we kept doing that year after year and learning more and more and more difficult pieces, Liszt, Chopin, like the old classical music stuff. I think by the age of 14 or 15, I don't know, whenever I reached the age of reason, which for me still hasn't happened, but I
Yeah.
think 14, 15, I started itching to do something else. Classical music was lovely, but what if I heard Oscar Peterson, for example? Again, I'm still only piano by that time. I heard Oscar Peterson, I'm like, oh, hold on, what is that? And I wanted to branch out, and the teacher was very old school. It was like classical music or nothing. Jazz is bad, blues is bad. So we ended up moving away from her, really moving on. And I wanted to pick up another instrument. In the house that we grew up in, we lived on the first floor. Um, for outside of America, first floor, meaning not ground floor, the second floor, I guess. It's very confusing to segue a little bit. First floor, ground floor is the ground floor, and first floor is the first floor. Moving on, we were on the first floor, second floor, and on the third floor, second floor, we rented out to the American University, which is directly in front of where we live. The American University of Beirut. We rented out to students so that my parents could make a little bit of money and stuff like that. And there was an empty apartment with several rooms. One person had a guitar that he was playing. And it was during my phase of, man, I really want to learn how to play electric guitar. And I heard him playing, and I just opened his door. His door was like cracked a little bit. I just opened it. I said, "That's an electric guitar. I want to learn." He said, "No, that's a bass, but I would love to teach you." And that's how I got into music. And he was a huge Pink Floyd fan, and then got into blues. But mostly he was a huge Pink Floyd fan, which made me a huge Pink Floyd fan because that was my idol. That was the guy that was teaching me everything. So again, he was a bass player, but trying to teach me guitar. So it was difficult for him. It was difficult for me. But yeah, that's how I got into it. Age 14, 15, we did music our whole lives. And then I just switched to Pink Floyd. And then he introduced me to blues. I think it was I think he was playing Muddy Waters or Stevie Ray Vaughan. I can't remember really. No, it was Stevie. It was Mary Had a Little Lamb by Stevie Ray Vaughan. And that just got me into. I'm like, that whatever that guitar is, whatever that sound is, I must replicate it. So it was David Gilmour, Stevie Ray Vaughan for me. 14, 15. That's all I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And here we are. Look at the career that I have made of myself.
I know. Well, it's so interesting though. I feel like to hear people's journey, and similar to you, like I grew up. The first one for me was Hendrix, and then
Yeah.
quickly led into Stevie Ray Vaughan, and I love that. And Gilmore was a huge, huge influence. But
Yeah.
it's also, I think it's so interesting to see your story because here U.S. side, I think we all have a kind of an interesting view of music in that there's so much music created in the US and
Mhm.
and the UK, as well. But some of our staff is international. We have teams in Portugal, and it's very interesting to see
Mhm.
how you've got music from the US that just it impacts and touches everybody across the world, even in
Oh yeah.
Lebanon,
Yeah.
that Stevie
Yeah,
Ray Vaughan.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah. In Lebanon, I've always said this. In Lebanon, if you grab a guitar, you're going three directions. If it's a classical guitar, you're going flamenco, 100%. But let's get the classical guitar out of the way. If you're grabbing a guitar, an electric guitar, you're going two roads. You're either going blues or you're going extreme heavy metal, and there is nothing in between. It's either
Yeah.
going to be, when I say blues, I mean you're going to dabble in the Led Zeppelin, you're going to dabble in the Pink Floyd, but it's really those two roads. It's either death metal or blues. There's nothing in between in Lebanon. So I'm not going to say thankfully, but I ended up in the blues side. I can't do metal. I appreciate metal, but I'm really not good at it.
Yeah, I'm the same as you, and I grew up playing alternative, and it's enjoyable, but
Yeah.
blue has always been kind of home. Well, it's really interesting to hear your story, man, and I feel like there's probably a lot of our members that are on here today, and just people in general who have thought about their music and how they take their musical journey to try to reach more people.
Hmm.
And one of the things I was really interested to talk with you about today is, influencers have become such a proliferated word. Everybody uses that very interchangeably for
Yeah.
anyone that has a lot of Instagram followers or YouTube
Right.
followers, whatever. Just all these different shades of gray.
Yeah.
But I think one of the most important things for musicians that if you are a musician and you're thinking about getting your music recognized by the world, there is a lot of opportunity to do that through
Absolutely. These days, absolutely.
yeah, for sure, man. And so I'm just really interested to sort of hear your take around how becoming sort of a social media influencer has helped you reach more people with your music and just awareness in general, your personal brand, everything else. So if you could just share some insights on that with
Yeah,
our
certainly.
listeners.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd love to. I'd love to. See, I came in at the tail end of it. At the tail end of the old school way of doing it was going out. That's when I came into it. So I can't really remember when now, but mid 2010s, early 2010s, I got signed with a record label when that was still a thing. Getting signed by the record label, that was a big deal.
Yeah.
And it was still the era of CDs. It was still the era of let's go into the studio and cut a CD type thing. So when the CD came out and it was successful, I'm very grateful. It was successful, and we did the whole tour and the whole shebang. That was at the tail end of it. So I got to see the extreme rise, meteoric rise of streaming, Spotify, Pandora, if you remember these guys, and the death of CDs. So I remember, I mean, whenever you do an album and whatnot, you sell out of your first batch of CDs, then you make more. We never made more. We made a lot, sold out, and then we never made more. And then all of us had to pivot. Then I left the record label because then I realized that they're too stuck in their old ways, and there's so many other ways I can get the music out there rather than the help of the record label. I'm grateful for them, blah blah blah, all that, but they didn't want to get with the times, and I did. And so right around that time is when I started focusing more on Instagram. This was long before YouTube. Well, not the inception of YouTube, but me getting on YouTube.
Right.
So I started focusing on Instagram, and Instagram at the time was pictures only, if you remember. And then it was videos, but your videos, the maximum length 15 seconds. Talk about an elevator pitch, dude. You have
Right.
15 seconds to impress whoever needs to be impressed, because the whole record label thing is not gonna. It works for some people, but it's not the way to do it these days. So kept doing it the old school way, hit the road and then do shows after 4 or 5 shows a week, every week for about 10 to 15 years. And then with the coming of Instagram and YouTube and all of that, man, it's just extremely easy to get your music out there. And with different apps, whether it's DistroKid or whatever it is, with different apps and different websites and different hosting services and all of that. Sometimes if you look at Mateus Osado, for example,
Mm.
the world knows him because of Instagram.
Yep.
Um, let's go in to the whole different world. Justin Bieber wasn't that, and I'm not really familiar with the story, but wasn't he discovered by Usher on
Yeah.
YouTube?
He was discovered by Usher. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's crazy story of, and again, very early in that cycle.
yeah. That, yeah. See, I missed that. I'm always dead late, dollar short. Always.
Story of my
I
life.
missed that era. But whenever I think there was another I'm going to call it era again. I think there was another era in 2020 when COVID happened, when everything shut down, when the now kind of old school thing is get out and play shows. Well, shows stopped, touring stopped, all my shows stopped, everything stopped, and I had to go somewhere to show people. Instagram, I think at the time was 1 minute. You can't do much with a minute when it comes to songs. You could do to impress and this and that and demo and here and whatever. But I thought YouTube would be the way to get into that, to get myself out and my music out and my playing and my art or whatever you want to call it. Uh, the resources that are available now are endless. They are endless. So we don't even need an amp anymore, right? You have a guitar that you can plug into your computer directly through a whatever, whether it's a pedal, whether it's your interface or any of that. So it's much. Is it easier? That's a whole different conversation. I don't know if it's much easier now, but it's much easier to get your stuff out.
The barrier to entry is lower.
Yes. Yeah, there you go.
I think easier, to your point, is subjective.
Yeah. Because I mean, you could put 1.5 million videos and either people don't like it, people don't see it for whatever reason. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, at the time that changed after COVID, I think was a huge catalyst for a lot of people, and especially, if you, again, you use the term influencer sort of loosely,
Yeah.
but it was a catalyst, right, wrong, or indifferent. I mean, things had to change, and I mean, I have found so many artists just through Instagram and just
Yeah.
through, I mean, even through doom scrolling, you stumble upon people, and maybe it is a pedal that they're
Mhm.
demoing. I also love ambient music as well. I find a lot of times people that are creating amazing soundscapes.
Yeah.
One of my favorite, Federico Cese, it goes under
Yeah.
World Music. Do you follow him on
Oh
Instagram?
yeah, dude. Yeah.
Oh, dude, killer. But like, discovered him during that time. Like, we're all locked away. He's
Yeah.
making this amazing music in Brooklyn. And Instagram became the way that I learned about him. But it started out because I just thought it was cool what he was doing with an electron dig attack, right? But
Yeah.
then I learned his music. I think it's just amazing that the ability of that is there. So talk to us a little bit about how you started down that journey. Like, what strategies did you use? Like, how did you know what to do on Instagram?
That's a whole can of worms that you just opened, because anybody that tells you I have a strategy and I'm going into this with a strategy, who was it? Mike Tyson. Everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face.
Yep.
You are playing a game where the rules change every 5 minutes. In chess, the knight goes like this, but now it goes like this, but it also can go like this, and it also can jump off the board and drive your car. That's the algorithm, if you will. That those are the rules of the game. So my strategy was always be, I guess, whatever I am. Some people find me funny, some people find me annoying. I'm gonna go with the people that find me funny. Is try to make things fun rather than funny, ha ha ha, but try to make things fun to where I'm gonna play when it was 15 seconds. it was, I'm going to play for 15 seconds. I'm going to play a blue solo for 15 seconds, whatever. I'm going to do a fast run. Um, when it moved to 30 seconds and then a minute, and then now I think it's 10 minutes now. It, the rules of the game became to where you've got a minute or a minute and a half, let's say, to capture the audience. If you're demoing a pedal, if you would like to do a funny bit, if you, whatever it is, but to capture as many audience as you can. So that was that's the current strategy, I guess.
Yeah.
But no one tells you, no one will say I had a focus of, everybody says, oh, you have to post on Mondays and Wednesdays and Fridays at 3 p.m. because that's when most people get off of work and stuff like that. And that's when you'll get the most engagement. Well, is it how many people are watching, or is it who is watching?
Yeah.
So that's another question you got to ask yourself, whether it's for your music or you're doing a job of demoing pedals or whatever it is, a guitar. So it's, no one has a plan. No one, whatever plan you have, Instagram's about to change it for you. But they've been kind to me, and I'm very grateful.
Well, and I think there's a huge element of just get started. And I think that's something
Precisely.
and we talk about this. We've had, we're fortunate enough to have quite a few of these webinars so far. And the recurring theme is just do something. Like, if you want to be a better songwriter,
Yep.
write more songs. If you want to be a better guitar player, play more guitar. If you want to be a better Instagram or social media guru,
put videos out.
Just do more videos.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be perfect. And I think that's where so many people get hung up.
Yeah. There is a lot of that. And I guess sometimes they're deterred by the negative comments that they see on other videos and stuff like that, especially new guitar players or new content creators or people that want to do content. And they're like, man, I'm not going to post a video of myself playing the solo for money for nothing and then get murdered in the comments. A lot of people get deterred by that, but you have to, like you said, you have to just do it. You have to put it out there because no one's going to hear it in your bedroom.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
And people are generally pleasant. I mean, hate comments and stuff like that. I get that a lot. But you have to either let it slide or do what I do and go on the attack immediately.
Well,
immediately.
I think that there is also something to be said based on, like, the more troll comments you get. It actually, and I don't know about you, but we've seen this on our own channel. There's some people that like to say bad things about our business. Like, we're here to help empower musicians by allowing them to borrow instead of buy. But you'd be surprised how triggered that gets people. They get pissed and be like, oh no, I buy it on Reverb. I'm not going to do that. Yeah. But it's funny. It's almost, and I wonder if you see this, it's almost like the more troll comments that happen, it's almost like an equal and opposite reaction. That more people actually coming to defend or more people getting interested. So
absolutely.
I think that it's like, one of my great advisors once told me, nobody hates on the guy in last place, right? Yeah. So if you're getting hated on, you probably might be doing something right. So I don't know. Yeah, well, us too. Yeah. So I tell you, I'm going to launch our first poll because I think it goes very well with this. And, just talking about what kind of content people like. So I just put this out there. I'm curious if you're watching now, just throw in your votes. What kind of content do you find valuable? Is it music topics? Is it product reviews? Is it education? Is it playing technique? Do
I get to vote too?
Savannah, does Buddy get to vote? Can you vote?
I'm going to vote. It's right in front of me. I'm going to do it.
No, do it, man. Throw it out there.
I don't care what anybody says. To be honest with you, I'm just going to do it. There's a poll in front of me. I'm going to click.
This is why Buddy does what he wants. Okay, cool. So looks like about 60% say actually discussion around music related topics. That was surprising to me because I would have thought product reviews, just given that, we're a company that does a lot of product reviews. You do product reviews. Yeah. Product reviews is actually the next to last. So the order here,
they're sick of us.
Well, and I want to talk about that in a minute because I think that there is some nature of like fatigue of gear and influencing of gear. So we'll get to that. So number one was discussion about music related topics. That's awesome. Number two was educational tutorials. So it's related, but like, how do I use it? Number three, product reviews. And then basically no one said playing technique and theory. Although I would love to learn some of your chops, buddy. So maybe I'll vote on that one.
That's the one I tried to vote on, honestly. But then it says hosts and panelists can't vote. So I'm getting off. I'm just leaving. First of all, you're going to hear from my attorney. Second,
Yeah. Hey, yeah, go ahead and get our general counsel, Savannah,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
to
immediately.
get sued. So, but we'll put you down on that one. So I would agree. So I'll just end this now. I'm going to share results for everybody. But I found that really interesting. Number one, maybe we just go here now. So we talked about like influencer fatigue,
Yeah,
gear fatigue. Do you
yeah.
really want product reviews? I'm very interested that the number one response here was I really just want to hear about music related topics
Mhm.
and conversation. So give us your take on that, buddy. What do you think?
I mean, I agree with it. Look at my channel versus Rick Beato's. Let's just go there.
Hmm.
All Rick Beato does is discusses does discussions around music related topics. So and Rhett and stuff like that. So
Yep.
that is indeed what people want to hear. But I mean, that's what I watch. That's what I watch too. So what that does not surprise me. The 50% doesn't surprise me. Educational gear tutorials as well. I mean, Marty Schwartz, Corey Congilio, Texas Blues Alley, all these guys.
Yep.
Certainly. Everybody asks me why I don't teach. It's because I have no look at me. Number one, I have no patience. Number one. Number two, I don't know how to teach. I'll just do this. Can you do it? No. Well, do it then. There's my. But product reviews coming in third. I thought I honestly thought they could come in last, but no one voted for the other one, so I guess it is last.
Right. First floor, second floor, that kind of
Yeah, precisely.
right. Right. Yeah, it's really interesting. Well, so let's dig into like product reviews and gear fatigue in general. And I'm
Yeah.
not sure if you saw, I put out this post last week,
Mhm.
basically, and we had a poll like, are you fatigued by gear? And
Yeah.
I forget what results were. What was it, Savannah? It was like 60% or something that said that they were fatigued by
Yeah.
just too much gear, too much stuff going on. And again, if you go back on your timeline, I love how you talk about this. Your early 20 teens were when that was sort of, this new place that everyone could go.
Mhm.
COVID hits, we all gravitate to that because it's something to do when we're locked down. And I think now we almost have the hangover of it where it's just like, oh my God, like everybody's releasing products, everybody's talking about products.
Mhm.
Where do you think that goes? Do you think we're just on the carousel and we're on for the ride, or do you think that we're set up for a pivot in that?
I think we are indeed set up for a pivot, but I want to go back a little bit. And then I'm not just saying this for job security, but it I think the gear fatigue, well, let's go influencer fatigue first. I think the influencer fatigue thing comes not only from music, from us, from people like me, from people that do what I do. I think that comes from a lot of other outside things like the distrust, for example, to when it comes to advertising or, oh, well, he must have been paid to tell us that that's a good pedal. I think that comes from, sure, there's been a few bad apples within the YouTube world of gear, guitar gear, and stuff like that. Sure. But I think that comes a lot from outside, like the whole, not to get talking about economics here, but the whole FTX thing, for example,
Yeah.
where you had a bunch of influencers, whatever it was, all the George Clooney, whatever, I don't know. I'll get sued now.
Yeah, you're being brought into financial advice. You're definitely
Yeah,
sued.
literally.
Buy Dogecoin.
And, yeah, or Larry David. It was. I know it was Larry David. A lot of these people did indeed. Let me fix this. Sorry. A lot of these people did indeed get advertise it, and then all of it turned out to be a scam and a Ponzi scheme, stuff like that. So there's a lot of outside factors that factor into this as well that make you think that this could be a dishonest review, and I'm sick of it. Sure. Now, this isn't a 100 million% guarantee, but everybody, and I've spoken to almost all gear reviewers. We're all friends. We all talk. Do you know how the percent of the amount of stuff that we send back or decline before it even gets home? I'll tell you me personally. I don't know about everybody else, but I know they do it too. If I receive about 5 pedals a week, let's say, for me to put on the schedule, 2 are going back, guaranteed. Because if it's not something that I am A, in love with, B, will use, and C, I can't not see myself living without, if you will, I'm not gonna do it. I'm just not gonna do it. So I'm on a let me decline clones kick right now. So anybody that says we're about to send you a clone, this one's different. It isn't. They're very good. It isn't, but I'm sending it back, or I'm or I'm not, or I'm declining it. So we are generally honest because it's in our interest, to be honest. The audience, the first thing that I learned on YouTube, the first thing from my first video is the audience is smarter than you, always. The audience, collectively and individually, everybody really is smarter than me. Have you met me? But the audience is smarter than you every time. And they have a nose that's so big that could smell lies from miles away. The best thing you could do is be honest about it. So that's the whole influencer thing out of the way. Gear fatigue, I'm with you. There's a lot of stuff that are coming out that are repetitive. But at the same time, there's also a lot of stuff that's coming out that's cool, that's new, that's like that Peace Hill effects thing that I was talking to you about the other day. It's a preamp that you put in the effects loop of your amp, and there's tubes inside of it. So suppose you have a Boss Katana, for example, solid state, amazing amp. Anybody that tells you a Boss Katana is not good is lying to themselves.
Agreed.
You has an effects loop. You put the Peace Hill effect preamp thingy, it's about this big, and has tubes inside of it. And you've now essentially added tubes to your Boss Katana, and you've added a Dumble style preamp to it, and it just sounds incredible. So not everybody's doing the here's another fuzz face, here's another clon, here's another tube screamer. There's a lot of other innovations. So with that, there's a lot of products coming out that need advertising, and they call people like us. And if it doesn't work, they wouldn't call us. It works. It works because they could see how excited we are about the product. And some people just want to see how it sounds. That's part of our jobs. That's now we're getting into demo versus review. I don't do demos. I do reviews.
Yeah. Well, I love how you broke this into two pieces. At least this is the way I heard it. You've got real innovation, and there is that happening in the fog of so many people doing the same thing over. And that
regurgitation. Yes.
Regurgitation. And I think that's the real key here is that if there is innovation happening, but I think the fatigue is the fog. Holy shit, it's another clone.
Yes. Oh, we can say shit. I've been holding back for half an hour. It could have led with that. All right.
Yes. No, we could totally say that. Lawyers are not on the phone anyway. So yes, we but that's the thing though, right? It's like we have this, in my opinion, this haze around us of just stuff that's just done over and over. I don't need another tube screamer. I don't need another clone. But you know what I love? I love Two Notes Genome.
Oh yeah.
I love what's happening with the Capture series, and because I'm still an analog guy. I mean, look at my back wall, right?
Yep.
But the power of being able to take my 1973 Marshall Plexi and go into Two Notes and do anything I want live,
crank the heck out of it. Have you ever done that?
Oh my God. I blew a tube in my Jubilee a couple of months back and almost had a heart attack because I was like, oh, I think I just took the transformer out. But I mean, I had it like on 9 and it just, anyway. But yeah, it's incredible. And I think, you look at that, you look at digital's not, it's not evil. It's not the enemy. There's so many ways that you can bring it into your rig.
Absolutely.
And then I'll also shout out, like, there's also people out there that are taking what might be borderline fog, but also adding innovative twists. Like, I really love have you played the Origin, like the adaptive circuitry, like on their Halcyon pedals? Have you played those yet?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So to me, that's like, okay, wait a minute. It's not a on clone. You actually have applied innovation to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah. And they have the green one too, the Tube Screamer one, Halcyon Green as well, also has the adapt thing. Yeah. And I love that too. And we can talk Brown amplification, for example, how they did their own take on a Blues Breaker, or how they did their own take on a Noble's ODR and stuff like that. So innovation is happening, but, and I'm not talking specifically about Brown. I just put out a video, a Dumble video, that Peace Hill thing, and I put the word Dumble in the thumbnail. That video has, I think, about 10,000 views in 3 days. The previous video of whatever it is, of any pedal X, let's say, has about 2,000-3,000 views. So a lot of times, and this is my opinion, this is what I think, a lot of times companies do like to take that Blues Breaker circuit, that clone circuit, and redo it because it's A, been tried and true, B, that word clone, that look, that thing, that's not a real one, by the way. I drive a 2019 Blazer. Let's get real here. But that look, that it's a new clone with a whatever blend, stuff like that. They're selling out. They're selling out. So the fatigue is indeed there, but I do think it could be the loudest one in the room. I don't know. Maybe I'm saying all of this just for job security. I don't know, man.
No, I don't think you are. I think you're really onto something because I'll give you an example. Look at Hollywood,
Mm,
right?
mm.
Everything is a reboot of a
Yeah.
reboot of a
Yep.
reboot. Did we
Yep.
really need another Twister? Did we really
Yep.
need like a
Yep.
37th Halloween movie? Whatever. But people will
Did we
watch.
need to ruin Star Wars?
Did we need to ruin Star Wars? Did we need another Top Gun? Like, who knows, right?
Yeah.
Like, I say no. To your point though, just having the word, right? Dumble. Oh my God, I
Yeah.
gotta watch that.
Right.
Klon. Oh, I gotta watch that,
Right.
right? So
Right. We all hated the new Star Wars, but we all saw it, didn't we?
but we all saw it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been watching The Acolyte with my son, and I'm like, do I really enjoy this? Like, I don't know.
Yeah. That one
But
was rough.
yeah, but so anyway, I do think it's sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy, and in some ways, consumers are as much of a problem as the other
Yeah.
side. So I think it's always a push-pull.
Yeah.
But I always try to look at life on the positive side. And again, there's so many innovative things happening, and
Yes.
that's what's getting lost in the noise is all the
Yes.
innovation.
And
Yeah,
the innovation is what we're after, or like the Silk Tone Overdrive, the Silk Tone Overdrive. It is 100% from the ground up. It's not a circuit of anything. The base of it is nothing that you've ever seen. He built that from scratch, and it's indeed an overdrive. And he won, I think, Pedal of the Year or whatever award that magazine gives, the guitar magazine. So innovation is still there, but again, you've got a lot of big companies or whatever, that companies with marketing money that have just released what they think is the quintessential clone that sounds the closest to the real clone. So that's the stuff that I'm kind of starting to get, like, I'm over it. I'm over it.
yeah. Well, so honesty and being an influencer, I think we've already covered that, and
Mhm.
I'm very it's very refreshing to hear when you see people like that like yourself that say, hey, look, if I don't believe in it, like I'm not going to do this.
Right.
And I really do appreciate the approaches of those who are not, it's not just a shill. Maybe there are sponsored videos, but they are integrating things into their own works. Like Mark Johnston, we've been working
Mhm.
with him as well. And what I
Yep.
love about Mark's content is it always just seems so genuine and
Yeah.
real.
Yeah.
It's like he's bringing you on this journey with him. And
Yeah.
coming all the way back around to how do you use influence to get your music heard and to build personal brand? I think to me, it really is honesty. Yeah, go, go. Yeah.
100%. 100%. Because honesty and, dare I say, and we're going to open another can of worms, honesty and positivity, because negativity sells so much more than positivity. If
Yeah.
I do a thumbnail with me holding a pedal that says, this thing sucks, do you know how many views I would get on that video? It's
Right.
just, and there's nothing wrong with the people that do that. God bless them. And I hope they make billions. But it's just not what I want to do. And it's not what, honestly, most of us want to do. It's not what most of us want to do, where we take a product. We have, let me word this properly here. We have, I'm not going to say the power. That's stupid. You have nothing. You are nobody. We have the ability. We, as consumers, as influencers, all of us, we have the ability to completely ruin a company
Mm.
by saying, I mean, if I, and I noticed that in one of the videos, I was doing a pedal video and I said, I don't really like how the bass responds, it had a bass, treble, and mid thing on the overdrive. I don't really like how the bass responds. I feel like it could have had a little bit more. And then I continued talking about how amazing the pedal sounded. Then I played the pedal, and it was just, the whole thing was lovely. The only comments were, not gonna buy this because, like you said, the bass is like, whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah.
So negativity sells and it attracts so much, but that's not what I personally want to attract. If it's not a product that I'm going to love, I'm either sending it back, I'm saying sorry, I just can't do this, or I'm going to decline it ahead of time, because I don't want to be in the negative review business. The here's the blah blah. Here's why this sucks.
Yeah.
Man, here's why this is amazing. Here's why your music is lovely. How about we change the narrative a little bit rather than this sucks, you suck, all of that, to
Yeah.
you're a great musician. I love this. This is cool. So I guess there we go. That was my spiel. Thank you.
Yeah, no, hey, I love to hear it, man, because we're in the same camp. It's I think everyone can put like a big, hey, don't buy this
Yeah.
on YouTube, and you get the rage bait click.
Instantly you're gonna click because, oh, why shouldn't I buy this? Oh, this
Yeah,
thing sucks, I
yeah.
guess. We haven't
Well,
even played it.
right, right. Yeah, you have no opinion, but somebody
Yeah.
someone on YouTube told you that
Yeah.
sucked, and oh my God,
Right.
I can't buy it. But
Right.
and there's so much psychology to that. It's like it's something about the human brain, and we've learned, like to stay away from saber-toothed tigers, like you always focus on like the things that went wrong or the things that
Mhm.
went bad are like 10 times more present in your
Yeah.
mind than the one really good day you had walking through a field, in the sunshine. You're gonna remember the thorn you stepped on
Right.
instead
Right.
of the sunshine. So I think it is, again, it's a consumer problem, it's a mindset problem. Um, I'm going to pivot because I know we've been going for about 30 minutes now. I'm going to open up another poll, and while I do that, if anyone has direct questions they would love to ask Buddy, throw them out here. You should be able to put it in the Q&A or the chat. In fact, you know what? I think I'm a dunce here, dude. I think we actually have a few that I haven't noticed come in. Yeah. Okay. Let me throw these out before I do the poll.
Yeah.
Okay. First one up. As far as your setup for video creation,
Hmm.
what are the main things that you want to add to your setup to improve it within the next year or so? This is an awesome question. I'm actually very interested to hear your response.
I If that question would have been asked 2 weeks ago, I would have told you the answer, but I just did it. I just did it. And I am so happy that I did it. I bought, man, I wish I had it in this room. Anyway, I bought an electric slider. You know those things you put the camera on, and usually you grab it with your hand, and then you do these little shots like to show a product, right? Some of them also turn, so it turns like this, so that way you could see the product like so. Kind of, Jesus Christ, sorry. You kind of see the products like so,
Yeah.
right? So I realized that you can get electric sliders are usually like $700, $800, $900. Like, man, that's a lot of money for anything in life.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
then I realized that they make really cheap ones, like 250, and
Mhm.
they're very good. So I bought that, and now I have on almost all my playing videos or playing parts or the backing track part where you get to hear the product in context. I have the camera on me that will show you the pedal on the corner as well. And then
Oh,
I
cool.
have
Yeah.
right over there, I have another camera on that slider that's constantly moving. It just shows such a better shot of everything. It feels like you're, which is really the goal, is to feel that you're with me in the room and I'm talking to you like a friend about this pedal that I just got,
Mhm.
sharing it with you. But yeah, electric sliders. If the gentleman or lady that asked the question, if you can get an electric slider, it'll change your life. It's so much fun.
That's awesome. I appreciate that, and I hope that is helpful. It's definitely was to us. We've actually been thinking about some tips and tricks we can use in our own shop.
Yeah.
Another one's coming from Brandon, and this is a good one. He says, "Hey, I'm at 660 followers currently. I'm struggling to get to my first 1,000. It's a great milestone. Hitting
Mhm.
1,000 is awesome. We're rooting for you, Brandon." He says, "How can I break this barrier? Do you have any suggestions?"
It's what kind of content is he in? This the same?
Uh,
Same that we are?
shoot us a note back, Brandon. Just tell us kind of what your
Why would we why would he be here? No,
yeah.
no, I do plants. I
Yeah.
do
Yeah, not plants. He says, same. He does gear demos.
no.
Yes. So currently 660, wanting to break 1,000 tips and tricks.
661 to break 1,000. Let me give you a cheat code that goes back to against what we were just talking about. Get yourself a pedal or a piece of gear that's hot right now. Get yourself a piece. Did he say gear demos? Yes, he did. Get
Yes.
yourself a piece of
Yep.
gear that's very hot, meaning um, a clon. Don't get a real clon, please, Brandon. Don't get a real
Yeah. Do
clon.
not do that. Do not
Yeah, like a
borrow a clone from us for $19 a month. Don't go buy one.
brilliant, brilliant. Get yourself a Tumnus. Get yourself a this and that. and do something interesting with it. Not, oh, this is the best clone I've ever heard. We've heard that so many times. Do something interesting with it. Um, the, basically have one video with a very hot product and have that video do something different than what the others are doing. Here's the comfortably numb solo using just a clone. Here's an idea for example. I should charge Brandon. Brandon, are you a subscriber to the Buddy Blues Foundation and Enterprise? If yes, send me money for this idea. Do the comfortably numb solo with a clone. Here's what it sounds like with a clone. Stuff like that.
Brandon says, of course, he's a member of the society. Yes.
Good man.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and that's, I think there's a lot to be said of that. And we even noticed this. I mean, it's so funny. We can demo stuff that that I personally get excited about, and then we can go do like a boss pedal, and the
Yeah.
boss pedal will get 3x the amount of engagement. It's just insane.
They're king.
And they're king for a reason. It's like everybody wants to hate on Boss because they're simple and they look like, colored chiclets, but there's some of the best products in the world, and they've sold more products than anybody else in the world. But yeah, I think that's great. And, Brandon also, just trying to do things from the perspective of honesty, like we've talked about. Spend some time to think about how you structure those videos in that first like second and a half. Some of the things that we did early on were just try to optimize so that there's something that grabs somebody out of the feed.
You have to.
You have to. And so many people don't think about this. Like what you may feel is a great video when you stand back because it tells a story. I hate to say it, but so many people don't give a shit because they're doing this, right?
Yeah.
And stop somebody doing this. There has to be something really interesting that happens at that first moment. So kind of optimizing videos to do that. And then just encouraging people to, hey, like join along. Don't be afraid to say, hey, like and subscribe if you found this helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me give one more piece of advice to Brandon. Watch your own videos like a watcher. Watch your own videos like a subscriber. Like when I do that, usually when I'm editing my own videos and stuff like that, but every once in a while I put on a video, an older video that did well, and I watch it as if I'm not looking at Buddy on the screen. I'm looking at whoever this schmuck with a beard is that's talking to me about guitars and stuff. Try to remove yourself from yourself. This is a therapy session now for Brandon.
Yeah.
Try to remove yourself from the situation and watch yourself from the third person, if that makes sense. How are you, the consumer now, thinking about this video? What do you think about this video? How was it done? How was it? Because I guarantee you it's not the electric slider that's going to make it. It's not the electric. Watch my older videos. Would that have 40, 50, 60,000 views? Those were shot on this. And the microphone was also this. So sure, you want the you want to do this blue, wow, so cool. You want to do this for the brands. You want to do this for the Walrus Audios and the small business and the this and that and the buy or borrow. You want to do this for the brands that you have to have a proper look, sure, but try to focus less on that and more on the content and more on you. Watch you and tell me what you think of you. There you go. Thank you, sir. So that's $200 now that I need from Brandon.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is a free environment, Brandon. Don't worry, we'll have our
It
lawyer.
Is, yeah.
Buddy.
Yeah.
It's all
I'll find you,
we got your back. So, but no, I think there's a lot to be said to that, and as well, just back to just make content like we started out, and I think that you could also draw a parallel to playing, because so many people are always like, oh my God, I have to have this in my rig. I've got to have this in my rig. If I don't have a tube amp, I'm not going to sound good.
Yeah.
And I think you would attest to this. Well, anybody, buddy, I could take a Squire guitar and hand it to you, and it's going to sound good because of your touch and your feel and all of that. And I've tried to say that so often. It's like, yes, gear is important, but it's also the time you're spending to craft that art. That is the true art, and the craft is like, okay, so what? I don't have a really nice chorus pedal, but do I have a multi-effects unit that I can probably dial something in? Like it's more about what you're putting into it. Same thing with video creation.
Right. Yeah. I didn't touch a pedal until 4 years ago. I spent my whole career playing no pedals.
Really? It was only 4 years?
That was the point of the channel. That was the point of why I started the channel is there's someone out there like me that has never touched a pedal in his life. I went on tour with John Mayall without a single pedal and with EMGs in my Strat.
Wow.
Yeah. And a Fender Supersonic, 22 watts that had the reverb that crackled.
Dude, there you
go. And
go.
I was playing with John Mayall. I was a blues breaker, damn it.
Yeah, right. But there
Yeah,
you go. It's like you don't have to have the
right,
$1 million rig. Like
right.
just go play and
Yeah,
what
and that
tools you
goes for
have.
video gear, that goes for microphones, that goes for all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Says the guy with this, all of this, but you
Yeah.
get it.
Well, but one of my favorite quotes is a great hammer will not make a great carpenter, but
Bingo,
a great carpenter will always want a great hammer, right?
bingo.
So it's like they're not dependent on one or the other, but
Yes,
as you learn the craft, you appreciate it. The same way that you and I love to talk about wine or food because we
yes,
appreciate nice things, right? It's like
yeah,
you as you learn, I think that you sort of build into that, but it's by no means a requirement. You don't have to
yep,
have a $7,000 Gibson custom shop guitar to
yeah,
sound
ever. But yeah,
ever, ever. So, but Brandon says the check is in the mail, by the way. So, uh,
good.
Brandon, thank you so much for hopping into. We love the questions. A couple of others here that are not so much questions, but sort of insights.
Mhm.
One said, "Hey, the reason I wanted to hear about music related topics, going back to the previous poll, was simply because there wasn't a category for quote interesting content that I learned from, but also entertained me in a not obvious way, like that it was a product promotion. Like,
Mhm.
hey, I've seen this," and he even said Mark Johnston does a really good job of
Oh
this.
yeah, Mark Johnson's the king of that.
He's brilliant at this.
Yeah,
It's like you never know that it's about a product; it's about
yeah.
the journey. And then followed on and said, I think gear reviews did poorly on the poll due to the scripts that most people read, right? So like no hate, no shade, everyone has a
Mhm.
job to do, but it's stale and old. Buddy always keeps it fresh. And he said, I work for a few guitar companies and I know personally about the scripts, don't like them. So yeah,
Yeah,
totally agree with that on all fronts.
yeah.
Um,
Thank you. I've never done a script in my life. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. So let's run one more poll really quickly. So this is about getting your music heard. And so the question here is, do you believe that social influence is beneficial to that, or do you think it's distracting to getting your music heard?
I
So
personally, I think it's very beneficial, and dare I say, these days necessary.
hmm,
Necessary. I think this is my opinion. It's can I do I get to vote? Nope. Host and panelists cannot vote.
you
But
got locked out again, man. But
yeah,
we can
again,
pretend. Well, just so you know, 100%. Like, and it looks like they're popping in. Basically, 100% said very beneficial, and I would
yeah,
wholeheartedly agree.
yeah, yeah. It's necessary these days. It's the new. I found myself a record label guy at the bar, which is quite literally my story, by the way. A record label guy walked into a bar that I was in playing and spoke to me during breaks. And that's not going to happen. Your record label guy is online somewhere doing like you were doing earlier, this on
Yes.
his phone. And within that first 5 seconds, hopefully you catch this person, this brand, this manager's attention.
Yeah, totally agree. The game,
Plus, it's fun. It's fun. It's very fun. We when I say we, I mean people like me that do what I do need to stop looking at this as a job for a second. Are you kidding me? I get to post videos on YouTube and I get to talk to people from all around the world, sharing the love of that preamp pedal and Fender Rhodes guitar, whatever. We're talking about guitars here. We're not talking about the price of insulin. We're talking about electric guitars and a universally loved thing that it's a beautiful niche to be a part of. So it also is a lot of fun. Post your song out there. Post yourself playing in the bedroom, playing whatever. Do it. It is fun.
yeah, I say it all the time. It's like, man, it would suck to have a real job. Yeah,
Yeah,
and it's
right.
it's been, but yeah, it's you have to lean into those passions and like I know, I mean, you have a full-time job too. This is
Mm,
something as passion, but it doesn't have to be one or the other. I think it's a continuum for everyone. If your music is 100% your life, there's a place for that, and
yeah.
there's ways you can focus on it. But it doesn't mean that, hey, like if you sit in a cubicle during the day, but you really love your music and you're passionate about it. The beautiful thing about the internet and social media is it's given you the opportunity to do that. It's
Yeah.
the bias for action. It's
Yes.
get up, get off the couch, create a video, put it out there.
Yep. And it's really easy to get gear these days as well. And you don't even have to buy it. Let
Yeah,
me tell
right.
you about this company that I know now.
Yeah, hey
Let me
man,
teach you about buy or borrow.
it literally, and I say this not for shameless plug, but that is literally the reason I started this company because
It is brilliant. It is brilliant
well,
because
thank you.
whoever now wants to do this unbelievably fun thing of both. I mean, I wanted to do that. What last video I did was the Moog, that Moog chorus pedal.
Yeah, that's great.
Man, I can't find that damn thing anywhere. And anywhere I want to find it, it's going to be $600 or 500, whatever it is. It's a chorus pedal. I love chorus pedals, but I don't love six, five, because those are, it's one of those things that get resold. I think retail is 300 or something like that. But anyway, like you have the ability to have it for a few weeks. You can do videos with it or not, or whatever. I mean, that's smart. I don't know why this turned into pay me. Now it's your turn.
Yeah, right, right.
But it's just it's a no-brainer, man. If you could borrow it to do whatever reels, videos with it, I mean, or have fun, I think it's a no-brainer.
Yeah. Well, and I just got sick of tired of doing it myself because I lived with the problem and it was constantly the buying and the selling, and
Buy, sell, yeah.
yeah, and we wanted to have a better way for musicians. But interestingly, we have a lot of influencers and particularly people starting their influencing careers, which
Yeah.
I think is awesome, man. Like one of the things that makes me happiest is when we have a new member sign up
Mhm.
and I'll get like a personal email like, hey, check out this video I just posted on YouTube. Like it's my like fourth or fifth one. I'm trying to get my channel going. It's
Yeah.
like, hell yes. Like
Yes.
that's what we want to help do.
Right.
And again, it's the drive that the individual has to just go get it done, right? And to
Mhm.
get things out there and to let the world see is the most important part. So it's
Yep.
almost, that rite of passage of just, get out there in the world and make it happen.
Right.
Um, well, let's talk. I know we got a few minutes left. I'm a nerd on gear. Let's talk
Mhm.
about gear. Tell us what is some of the coolest gear that you've touched lately? We heard the Dumble preamp. I think that's
Yeah,
awesome.
from
We're
Peace
gonna
Hill
have to go
Effects. That
check
was,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Uh
What else is on your list?
I'm on an amp kick right now. So there's been a few amps that I got to see and play and fortunately own that have just, I mean, there's the original Silktone amp, obviously. That's been my main amp for I don't know how long. That one.
Yep, there you go. I love the aux box on top.
Yeah, it's just the aesthetics. But
Yes.
it's most useful. It's the most important piece of gear for my YouTube channel. If the aux box dies, my YouTube channel's gone.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's the original Silktone, but then he came out with a new one called the Parallel. That's 25 watts. This one's 12. The other one's 25 watts, and it's just it's the amp sound that's been in my head since I was a kid. It's the cleanest, most beautiful, cleans, full. And then if you want to drive it by turning the volume up, lovely. Um, Victory, the Deputy, the one that just came out from with the Danish Beat and Victory amps.
Yeah.
That's also like my go-to British thing currently. Like if I ever want to do a plexi sound or whatever, a JTM sound or all of that, it's my go-to. So I've been on an amp kick a bit, but there's been a lot of really cool pedals. Again, I can't talk about it. There's another one that's really very, very, very impressive. And also there's a fuzz pedal that's could be a signature fuzz pedal to an artist we may know that could
Okay.
be coming out soon, but who knows?
Building the tension, man. I love it. I love
Yeah,
it.
it's the best fuzz pedal I've ever played, to be honest with you. But yes.
Hey, I think you posted this recently.
Mhm.
Fuzz is an art. Like, yes, they are very simple circuits.
Yeah.
There is a definitive art because there's a million fuzz pedals out there.
Oh yeah.
Give us your take on that, man. I'd love to hear your elaboration.
It the simplest circuit when it comes to pedals to make is a fuzz face circuit. It is so easy, anybody can do it. You really, it'll take you a 5-minute YouTube video, get the parts, and then you can do it. And I could do it, and I could build one with my eyes closed. But is it going to be that? No. And I'm not talking about the beauty of the solder joints. I'm pretty good at soldering. I'm not talking about the beauty. I'm talking about the way fuzz pedals are tuned, the way they're auditorily tuned, if you will. That's where the art is. This is beautiful. This is also beautiful. This one's amazing. This one's lovely. But it's how the art comes of how good their hearing is, because they could knowing the scientific, you got to change this part, you got to change this part to add mids to do whatever. But just the way they do things, like Reeves Electro, for example, the way Marcus Reeves does things, that's the art, is how they tune a fuzz pedal to where it's going to react brilliantly with single coils, with humbuckers and stuff like that. Reeves, I keep going back to Reeves because he has a new line that has been coming out for the past year called the Daughter Board series. It's actually his daughter that does it, Izzy.
Hmm.
And those are some of the best fuzz pedals I've ever heard in my life. Recorded, played, real, online, and that's where really the beauty of it comes, is how excited you could feel their excitement of making it when you plug into it and play it. And it really, really is. It really is an art. Overdrives are cool, but fuzz pedals, I think that's where they get to really express themselves
Yeah.
with a circuit, with a few parts and circuits, and then do whatever you want to do on the outside, like these guys.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. So final question, and I've been asking everybody this lately.
Yeah.
Digital. I
Mm-hmm.
know you're an analog guy. I'm,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sort of the same. You can see my
Mm-hmm.
background. Thoughts on digital, and do you have any favorite pieces of your rig that are digital?
A huge fan of digital. Huge fan of digital. There's nothing wrong with digital. I'm looking at one, two, three, four, five universal audio pedals right now that are amps, that are the Dream 65, the Lion, these guys. Um, right to my right there, I have an HX Stomp that I use on my Fender Rhodes, so that gives me different amps and stuff like that. The, I have an HX1, that another Helix thing. There is nothing wrong with digital. Strymon, Blue Sky.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that's not a good sounding reverb. The new neighbor Illumin. Are you kidding me? That's the nicest reverb I've ever heard in my life. So yeah, no, I'm a huge fan of digital, man, and I I did hundreds of gigs with a Strymon Iridium. At the I had a every Friday and every Sunday gig at a local venue down the road. I never lugged an amp there. I mean, I used to lug my amps all my life, but once I discovered the Strymon Iridium, come on, you just got to change the speakers in it though. The stock
Yeah.
speakers are but if you change the speakers in them,
Yeah.
brilliant.
Yeah. Custom IRs, man, are where it's
Yeah,
at.
yeah, yeah, yeah. York Audio. He's the man. The guy's a
Yep.
genius.
It's amazing. I love it. I have two friends. Actually, they're members of BuyOrBorrow
Hmm.
that I've gotten to know through our program. Who they have this little side gig capturing amps, and they do it
Yeah,
for Tonex, they do it for Kemper, they do it for Line Six, like those
yeah,
kind of different. I don't know if it's Line Six. I don't know if you could capture there. Anyway, I'm out of my
yeah,
league, but it amazes me how
yeah.
that process, like you can get the sound. Like I used to have a 69 plexi, and I was stupid enough to sell it. But before I did, one of my friends had a Kemper, and we captured a model. And it's
Yeah,
crazy that I can go plug into that. Now
yeah,
the feel is not necessarily the same because you don't,
yeah,
you in the chest,
yeah,
but
yeah,
it
yeah.
sounds like the DNA of it is there.
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's amazing.
It'll get it. There is no right or wrong. It will sound good. It will. No one's making. I've said that a million times. No one's making bad products these days, especially not the kings, Universal Audio, Strymon, Kemper, these guys. The Neural DSP. Like I love that stuff. I do. I enjoy it. Is it 100% going to be exactly the same feel as a tube amp? No, but that doesn't mean it's not going to same. It's not going to sound good.
Right.
If it sounds good, we have to stop lying to ourselves. We could lie to other people all day long, but we got to stop lying to ourselves. The Strymon Iridium on the Fender setting sounds lovely. The Universal Audio Dream 65, it's supposed to be a deluxe reverb, sounds lovely. And I use it on the roads all the time. It sounds great.
Hmm.
So it doesn't sound identical to a deluxe reverb. It never will, no matter how much their product thing manual tells us. This is modeled after an exact copy of a cool. It sounds great, but it's not that.
Yeah, but it's not that for real.
Yeah.
I'm with you. And there's just something too about and I think that this will always keep amps in the world. The feeling, the
Yeah.
visceral push in your chest that you get from a 412 and a
Mm-hmm.
Marshall at 100
Yep.
watts hitting you in the
Yep.
face. there's just no replacement for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you know, going into recording or even live setups, you know, I've used an HX Stomp myself for live playing for years now. I love
Yeah.
it. I could take that one
Yeah.
and play
Convenient. Yeah.
play a gig anywhere. That's all I
Right.
need. Like that one
Yeah.
pedal, I'm good to go. But does that mean I
Absolutely.
don't love my tube amps? No.
No,
You,
yeah.
you don't have to pick, which is the awesome. Oh, what is that, man? Is that
Friedman twin sister.
oh dude, I'm jealous.
It,
I
it, it
love
is
the
it's
Freeman
so
stuff.
good. God, it's so good.
Nobody,
That's that chest punch. That oof.
yep.
But I have
And
it through a
nobody
212.
does. No one does British martial style like Freeman either. Like it's
Yeah.
just to me, it's the pinnacle. That's the pinnacle. Yeah, man, I could go on and on about this. I know we got to get to a stop. The last thing else, Boss IR2. We actually just got some in the other day.
Mhm.
We got a little small batch. I had not played it.
Yeah.
And you coming back to like how everyone overlooks Boss, man, that thing is great. Like the
Yeah,
difference.
I haven't played one, but I did watch the reviews.
Yeah, the Vox setting was the one I really liked. The
Yeah.
AC30 sounded quite nice. In fact, I even it's back behind me here. I've got an old CC2
Yeah.
AC30, and I had actually recorded some back to back. It was pretty incredible. But yeah, again, like you just don't discount even folks like Boss that make that sort of available. And I think
Yeah,
that
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, it's like less than $200, and
Yeah.
you can load your
And people can afford that, and they can, and the same thing with that like Dumble preamp.
yeah
Granted, it's not cheap. It's $800, but what you're getting is insane. Yeah, it gives you the ability to go into a computer direct. It gives you the ability to do any of that, but it's not digital. This one's analog, I'm saying. But anyway,
yeah.
so it's yeah, man. People are doing some really really cool stuff. We're in the future, and I'm not ready for it.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. And that is a perfect place to draw to draw a conclusion to our
Yes.
chat because that's a whole nother topic for another day. Buddy, dude, this has been awesome. I could keep going on for hours because I would nerd out, and then eventually we would talk about wine and food, and that's
Yeah.
for a whole nother discussion. But thank you so much. It's
Thank you
been
for having me.
a
This was a lot
pleasure.
of fun. Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you everybody else for hopping on. The great questions we had come in. Folks like Brandon, dude, best of luck, man. Like rooting for you. Shoot us a message on your Instagram handle. We'd love to give you a follow as well. Help you get to that 1K mark.
Yeah.
So glad everybody got to join. We will send out an email with a recording of this. So if there's anything you wanted to go back, re-listen to, share it with your friends. We're gonna have it up live on YouTube within the next 24 hours. So everybody can go back and revisit the magic. So thanks again, buddy. It was a real pleasure, man.
Thank you for having me. We'll do it anytime.
All right, buddy. Take care. Have a great weekend.
You too.